Okay, let's dive right into this. Imagine an empire so unbelievably powerful that it literally dictated the lives of millions across three entire continents. I mean, we're talking about a civilization armed with these incredibly disciplined war machines, roads that span the entire known world, and breathtaking architecture that, honestly, still commands our awe over 2 millennia later.
But that brings us to the ultimate historical puzzle. How exactly did the greatest empire in human history just collapse? Seriously, how do you go from being this unprecedented world-conquering superpower to losing absolutely everything? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack in today's explainer as we look at the incredible rise and the super dramatic fall of Rome.
To make sense of over 1,000 years of history, here is our quick roadmap. We'll start off with the birth of Rome, move into the rise of a superpower, tackle Caesar and the empire, look at why the empire fell, and finally, Rome's lasting legacy.
All right, Chapter 1, the birth of Rome. We're going all the way from ancient myth to a functioning, powerful republic.
Let's move to and see how this builds over time. According to Roman legend, our starting point is 753 BC. The city was founded by twin brothers, Romulus and Remus, who, you probably heard the myth, were said to have been raised by a she-wolf. Romulus eventually steps up and becomes Rome's very first king. Now, those early years were pretty humble, but Rome had a total geographic jackpot with the Tiber River. It completely fueled their growth through trade and vital agriculture. And over time, that tiny little kingdom evolved into a powerful republic. We're talking a revolutionary system here, where elected leaders were suddenly making the most important decisions.
That foundation totally sets the stage for Chapter 2, the rise of a superpower. This is exactly where Rome stops being just a powerful city and starts conquering the world.
To really grasp how they pulled this off, you have to look at the legionary. These guys were highly disciplined, incredibly well-trained Roman soldiers making up what was essentially the strongest army in history. Picture this. They're marching up to 20 miles a day, lugging around 60 pounds of gear. It's intense. They were the absolute backbone of Rome's explosive growth, just systematically defeating rival kingdoms to take over Italy, Greece, Egypt, North Africa, and huge chunks of Europe.
By the 1st century AD, the scale of this conquest was it's unbelievable. The Roman Empire stretched all the way from the rain-soaked edges of Britain straight down to the deserts of the Middle East. It was an absolute behemoth of a territory, cramming incredibly diverse lands and cultures under one singular banner. But honestly, how do you even manage an empire that huge? The answer is sheer, unadulterated engineering genius. Step 1, they built thousands of miles of roads to move troops and facilitate trade. And fun fact here, a lot of those roads are actually still in better shape than our modern highways. Crazy, right? Step 2, they constructed these massively advanced aqueducts to pump fresh water over insanely long distances. And step 3, they engineered incredible bridges and sprawling cities. These weren't just functional, they were monumental achievements that literally still inspire architects today.
But look, with massive expansion comes massive political drama. Let's head into Chapter 3, Caesar and the Empire. This marks the ultimate political pivot that changed Rome forever.
And this brilliantly illustrates a massive structural shift for the civilization. For centuries, the Roman Republic was ruled by elected leaders and a senate. But that entire system got turned on its head by Julius Caesar. His jaw-dropping military victories made him wildly popular with the everyday people, which, as you can imagine, absolutely terrified the Senate. Fearing he was setting himself up as a dictator, a group of senators famously assassinated Caesar in 44 BC, and that moment, it fractured the Republic for good.
Now, you might think the assassination would save the Republic. Actually, scratch that, it did the exact opposite. It sparked these incredibly chaotic civil wars. Emerging from the ashes of all that was Caesar's adopted heir, Augustus. He steps up and crowns himself Rome's first ever emperor. And ironically enough, his absolute rule actually kicked off the Pax Romana, or the Roman peace. We're talking a 200-year golden age of unprecedented stability and prosperity. Roman culture just completely thrived like never before.
But, as history shows us time and time again, no empire lasts forever. Which brings us to Chapter 4, Why the Empire Fell and the Ultimate Collapse of Rome.
So the crucial point is, it wasn't just one single catastrophic event that brought Rome down. It was a totally toxic combination of fatal flaws. Internally, the system was just rotting. They were dealing with severe political instability, endless power struggles, and government corruption that was basically spreading like a virus. Add to that massive economic troubles and crushing taxes on the everyday population. It was brutal. Then, externally, they faced exhausting, repeated invasions by Germanic tribes constantly pushing at their borders. And remember that incredible geographic expansion we marveled at earlier? Well, it became a massive liability. The empire simply grew way too large to actually govern effectively.
All of those immense internal and external pressures finally just boiled over in AD 476. This is the critical year when the last emperor of the Western Roman Empire was officially removed from power. And in a deeply ironic twist of history, his name was Romulus Augustulus, literally echoing both the mythical founder of the city and its very first emperor. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. This event is the definitive marker historians use for the official fall of the Western Roman Empire.
It's such a dramatic and tragic end to a political powerhouse for sure, but the story isn't actually over. That brings us to our final chapter, Rome's lasting legacy, and how its echoes are still shaping our modern world today.
Now, what's really interesting about this is you can trace massive aspects of our everyday lives right back to ancient Rome. Roman law, it didn't just vanish, it serves as the direct foundation for the legal systems we still rely on globally right now. Roman engineering heavily inspired the modern infrastructure, like the roads and bridges you probably use today. And the Latin language? It's literally the DNA for modern languages like Spanish, French, Italian, Portuguese, and Romanian. The government might have fallen, but we are essentially still living inside its cultural blueprint.
The Roman Empire eventually collapsed under its own massive weight, but its revolutionary ideas changed the trajectory of humanity forever. So which part of Rome's epic story surprised you the most? And more importantly, when you look at the political instability, the economic strain, and the massive overexpansion that brought down history's greatest superpower, do you see any echoes of that in our world today? Understanding Rome gives us some incredible insight into our own future. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.